I'm David MacAuslan. A year ago I had diabetes and depression very badly. I was very ill, I felt very old. I had lots of quite major problems physically, and I had a lot of minor ones as well. I'm 65 years old, and a year ago I felt in my late 70s. I was really not coping with life very well at all. I had no motivation to do anything, but there was a point when I decided that I really ought to start changing my life. And one of the triggers, and it's a silly thing, but it's usually silly things that actually are the catalysts, was that I was in a hotel in Falmouth and I was in the bath and I couldn't get out of the bath. I was just too bulky and too weak, and that really worried me. I had a lot of other physical problems as well, but on one day, it was September the 17th last year, I decided that I ought to do something about it, and I made 3 decisions. One was to give up alcohol. I was drinking far too much. The second thing was that I was eating a huge amount. I didn't care what I ate, and I wasn't really aware of how much I was eating either. It was just, I know it was an awful lot. So I decided that I would cut back on the amount that I ate. And so the next morning, and I didn't stop to think about this, because I knew if I stopped to think about it, I'd find lots of reasons and excuses not to do it. I thought I'd just go for a manageable diet, and it wasn't what I ate. I decided to count the calories. And the third thing I decided to do was to get some exercise. I didn't really do anything. I was sedentary. At that point, I was nearly 24 stone, and my stomach was a huge barrage balloon in front of me. So I joined a gym, and you have to pay for that, so that's good motivation to keep on using it. So I went to the gym, and they were extremely helpful. They obviously had come across people like me before, and they showed me what to do. I found the gym very frightening. Everyone there's fit. I mean, who would believe it? You're fit at a gym. And I thought they'd look at this great barrage balloon of a man and think, oh, look at him, he's never going to do it. And no one does. Everyone, if they look at you at all in the gym, and I discovered, it's because they're saying, well done you, you're making an effort, you're trying to do something. And I have lost, actually now it's nearly 10 stone in a year. I feel really fit, I feel fantastic. I don't have depression. It's probably in remission, because I think probably like diabetes you can't actually cure it, but I certainly can find no symptoms of it, and I'm happy to talk on camera and to talk to groups, which I would never have dreamt of doing before, and that is where I am today. The first and biggest challenge I faced was I didn't know that there was an alternative to putting diabetes into remission, apart from, all I knew was that my doctor told me that I could take tablets. It wouldn't actually put it into remission, but it might just keep it under control, which I thought, great, that's good. Then I discovered there was another challenge, because everyone I spoke to said, oh, you won't be able to do it. You can't put diabetes into remission through that. Those challenges keep on coming, because when I told people that I was losing weight, that my diabetes was getting a bit better, they said, oh, well, you'll plateau, you'll reach a level where you won't be able to get over it. And I did actually reach a plateau, and it did worry me, because I thought this can't be it. I hadn't lost enough weight and I hadn't cured my diabetes or put it into remission properly. And I sat and worked out what it was, why I wasn't getting my weight loss even more under control. And it was because I said to myself, I'm doing exactly what I was doing before, and there's the rub, that you can't keep on doing what you did before. You've got to up it all the time, because your body gets used to what you're doing, and it isn't actually, I discovered, that hard just to increase it, because one of the things I keep on saying now to anyone who will listen to me is, the more you do, the more you can do. And that applies to everything in my life now, really, and it's particularly with exercise, is that you think you can't do very much, and I certainly couldn't do very much when I started, but as I carried on and got a little bit fitter, I discovered I could do more and more. And what I do now, I would never have dreamt that I would be capable of doing. But that was a challenge that I had to get over. Another challenge is yourself, or myself. I had to convince myself that I could really do it and keep on doing it, because it's so easy to think, oh, I've done this and I'm tired and it's hard work, and it is, there's no arguing that. But the challenge I face now is that I know what having diabetes badly is, what it's like, how awful it is. I know that if I keep on doing what I'm doing now, I will suffer none of the consequences of diabetes. And so that's a great challenge, to know that I can, if I carry on doing what I'm doing, keep well. I would say that the biggest thing is believe in yourself, because you can do it. If you feel you can't do it, it's just yourself telling yourself you can't do it, because actually all the evidence shows that you can. I have a very good example of why it's important to take control of your diabetes as early as you can, because I actually have a permanent, lasting, very negative consequence of diabetes, and that is I have something called neuropathy in my feet, which means simultaneously and contradictorily my feet are always very painful, and I do mean very painful, but at the same time I can't feel anything. I did actually once walk on some broken glass in bare feet. One of the big lessons of diabetes, never walk on bare feet at all, but I did, and I got the glass embedded into my feet, and if it wasn't for my wife seeing the glass there, it probably would have got it infected, and who knows what would happen. So, and I think that if I'd started my recovery 6 months, maybe a year earlier than I did, I wouldn't have got the neuropathy. So if I'd done it earlier, then I would have missed out on one of the really quite bad consequences. And there are plenty of other problems with diabetes that evolve over time. And if the sooner you take your diabetes under control, the less likely it is that you'll develop some of the many bad things that diabetes can do to you. But to make the important changes takes a very short amount of time. When I went for my first quarterly diabetic checkup, the diabetic nurse and my figures showed that I was actually recovering, and it was no more than about 6 months before I could say I had safely turned the corner as far as diabetes was concerned. One of the things that I wanted to do was to make it as straightforward as possible, and it's just finding out what works for you. So just believe in yourself and believe that it is possible, because it is.